world full of Uniteds.
It is a magic moment from Heung-min Son!
Cities.
Through to Lucas Moura!
And Rovers.
Harry Kane! Oh, what a goal!
There is only one Hotspur.
It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur!
Hello and welcome back to the One Hotspur podcast. I'm Toby, and today I am joined by Bodie. Got some nice rhyming there. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Neither of us are English, so we're not particularly bothered by the result yesterday, but I do feel for all the English listeners of the pod and our podcast mates, I guess, for the loss yesterday. But, we're Spurs fans. We bounce back faster than everyone else because we're used to it. So, let's kick it off. So today we're going to be looking over Spurs players' performances at the Euros and at Copa America. And let's get into it. So we're going to start off with Hugo Lloris, who captained France to their round of 16 loss to Switzerland. But he's just messing with me. He is half English, but he's not particularly bothered about the loss because, he doesn't really care about England. All right, but let's get going. So Hugo Lloris, he made 8 saves and had 1 penalty save in France's run. I think that's pretty good. I'm hoping that Lloris stays as our goalie for the upcoming season, and then hopefully signs a contract extension for a year or 2 more, and that way we can either sell him the upcoming summer or we can just keep him for a couple more years and see how he goes. Because honestly, he hasn't been performing poorly for either France or Spurs recently. But Bodie, what's your take on Lloris and what you would want the club to do with him this summer?
I just want clarification. When did France get knocked out?
Round of 16. They tied 3-3 with Switzerland and then lost in penalties.
Well, those stats seem very, very good then. If 7 saves before round 16, that's
8.
8 saves. That's even better. I don't know how many games he's played, but sounds like he had a good performance. I didn't watch Euro as much. I can only really fully comment on Kane and Højbjerg because I watched Denmark and England the most. But I'd like to see him stay for a while. I don't know later on. Now, here's the thing. I don't know about other people with this one, but something that really drew my eye was that I may not like Everton much, but if we sell Lloris, I would want to go for John Pickford.
He was exceptional for England.
I think he was probably the best player for them, the most consistent player week in, week out. He was constantly shooting stuff, and when Bonucci scored that goal and made to tie it up 1-1, that first
Nothing
save
he could have done about it. Yeah,
that was a beauty.
He's
just he showed so much confidence, and he may not be as good for Everton as he is for England, but under you have to look at the coaching system and how England's coaching him differently to Everton, and if you replicate what he's able to do at Everton, he'd be one of the best keepers in the Prem. He played outstanding. I don't know. I'd want to keep Lloris around for a while, but if you, in a case of we're selling him, players I want to look at are Alphonse Areola and maybe Meslier. I don't know much about him, but from what you say, he sounds pretty good. Dean Henderson, and Pickford, and because they're English and we could do some English. I think Pickford will go for this as well. So that's what I do. I'd like to keep Lloris.
We haven't been linked with any keepers in a while, but I think going off like what you said, I think Areola would be a good target. Pickford would be good. I think Dean Henderson would be like the ideal target, but I don't think Man United's going to sell him at a price that's right for us. So another one I would just kind of throw into the ring is Andre Onana. Apparently he's going for like 10 million this summer, which is incredibly low, and I take that in a heartbeat. Although I think he's still on his year ban because he was caught, I think, doping. I'm not sure, but he's on a drug ban for 1 year. So he wouldn't be available to play for a few months, I don't think.
He was using for correction. For those who don't know, the reason why he was doping was because before the game he was extremely sick and he used the doping, so he was able to try to make himself ahead of the game. But he didn't really feel much better.
Okay.
So
yeah, so we try to hope that he doesn't do that again. It's a bit of a silly decision on his part, but yeah. So let's move on to the next player. We have Toby Alderweireld, who in year 2020 had 88% pass completion, 50% tackle success, and 4 clearances. So for me, I think this summer, what I'd want for Toby is like the ideal situation would be to sell Dyer and sell Sanchez and then keep Alderweireld as just kind of like the older, more experienced center back who can kind of coach the younger guys like Tanganga, Rodon, Tomiyasu if we sign him and he plays center back at all, or whoever else we end up signing as center back. But I think realistically, it's looking like he's going to leave. But what would you like to see happen with Alderweireld this summer?
It's a shame because I think he's definitely still got a lot of talent. He's slowed down a lot, but he's still a really good defender. I wouldn't want to have him on the bench. I think he's too good for that. But at the same time, he's too slow for the Premier League to play in a back back four, which is why I would, if we were to play a back 3, I'd want to keep him and have him as a starting player in the lineup because on the ball, he's just exceptional. And then off the ball, he's such a commander when it comes to telling players where they need to be, and he's very good. He's a very good tracker of other runs. I don't know. I don't know how Nuno will set up with him, and I don't know if he'll leave or not. If he leaves, it could be understandable. He's obviously starting to settle down a bit, so I think he would want to be going somewhere where it can be a bit easier for him. So for what he's done at Tottenham, I completely understand if he leaves, but personally, I'd want to keep him around for a bit longer.
I think Alistair Gold said yesterday or the day before that Alderweireld had actually asked to leave the club a few weeks ago, and that he prefers a return to either Belgium, where he's from, or to the Netherlands, where he started his career with Ajax. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Moving on to our next player is big old Ben Davies. 76 pass completion, 3 tackles succeeded, and 8 clearances. So I have 2 thoughts about this one. If we're going to play a back 3 this season, I think it's worth keeping him just to have a left-footed player who can play in a back 3. But if we're going to play a back 4, I think maybe just let him go. Try to sell him because I think Sessegnon and Reguilon are better than him. But also Sessegnon and Reguilon are more like attacking fullbacks. So maybe it's better to have Davies, who's maybe just a little bit better at defending. Although Reguilon at the beginning of the season was very strong defensively. So that's interesting. You're sticking to the get him gone though?
Look, it's nothing against him. He's just not good. He's just not good enough. I don't really care if he can sort of play centre back. He's not good enough. He's not composed enough. And he's I don't think he's just not a very good defender. Now, he's more of a defensive left back, but he's still not that good defender. He would suit a mid-table team amazingly, but for a team like Tottenham, right, who is supposedly still meant to be trying to challenge for top 4, you can't have players like Ben Davies in the team. I'd have him sold. And then if you talk about needing a left-footed defender, look, there's left-footed defenders on the market. If Tottenham were really serious about challenging for the top 4, they wouldn't just be hanging on to these liabilities like the Ben Davies. They would be going in for qualified, quality left-footed centre-backs.
Yeah, we have been linked with them. Quite a few of those: Jules Koundé, Milinkovic, Skriniar.
I can name 3 left-footed centre-backs straight away. Actually, no, 4: Botman, Diallo, Kimpembe, and Zagadou, and they're all players that could join Tottenham. Maybe not. Maybe Kimpembe is a little less realistic. But those three are players that would join Tottenham, and
Hmm.
those three are players that could join Tottenham, and they're qualified. You know, it's just, I don't know. Tottenham's just a mess, and they've drained all my energy. But I'm so optimistic for this season. I just know for a fact that if Tottenham wants to be challenging for anything
Yeah.
domestically, you can't have players like Ben Davies in the team.
Hmm. And I agree with like what you're saying in a general sense, but I think we also have to be um, aware of the fact that there's not going to be a lot of money that we're going to be throwing around this summer. Whether or not that's because we don't actually have money as a club is an entirely different question. But the amount of money that Levy's willing to invest this summer is relatively low, I believe, at least. So I think we're going to have to be smart and maybe make do with some players that we wouldn't prefer. But I'm hoping that, or at least this is my theory, is that in January, we're going to be able to spend a lot more because stadiums have been cleared to be filled to full capacity for the upcoming season. So by the time we get to January, we will have probably played somewhere between 20 and 25 games in the Premier League alone. So you take that in half, you got 10 to 12 home games. And then you add games like in the Carabao Cup, Conference League, FA Cup, and then so we're probably playing, I don't know, 15, no, probably more than that, 17 or 18 home games. So that's 17 or 18 home games with 60,000 fans. And that's tickets, merchandise in the club store, food and drink. So I think by the time we roll it around January, we'll be a little more flush with cash. And then we'd be more set to, push on, sign the players we want. And then by the time next summer rolls around, provided we do well in the Premier League and get the money from that, and then do well in Carabao Cup or FA Cup, even though those two competitions don't get a ton of money, and then do well in Conference League, which I'm not entirely sure what the prize money for that is. But then next summer, I could see us really spending big. But yeah.
If there's a summer, right? If there's a summer for Tottenham where we're going to be challenging for top four again, this is the summer where you have to build the foundations. If we don't build foundations right, if we don't sign players this window, we are finishing mid-table. And I'm not talking about the higher end. I'm talking 10th, 11th, 12th. We're that bad defensively. And you have players that are only getting worse as time goes on. They need to leave. So if you're not going to sell as players and build new foundations, because that's where we're at now, we need a rebuild because there's not enough good players to be able to sign a couple world beaters and then be challenging again. We need a complete rebuild, and unless we're going to do that, we're finishing at the lower half of the table. And I fear to say this, but Arsenal could finish above us as well because they're spending money on players. The amount of links I've seen involving really top quality players with good prices that Spurs should be going in for as well, because Spurs would be more likely to get them in the long run. They have more going for them at the minute. But if they don't challenge for these players and they don't spend the money, and then we end up being stuck with the likes of Davies and Sanchez and whatnot, we're going to end up being at the bottom half of the table. So this is unacceptable. We need to be doing better. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that we need to be building the foundations, like signing younger players who I think we have to accept that we're in a rebuild. I mean, we finished 7th last season, so we have to set our sights pretty low for the season. I mean, I think we should accept finishing 5th or 6th. I think that would be a good season overall for us. And then next season is when we can kind of push our expectations up and try to put pressure on the club to finish in the top 4. But I think Tomiyasu would be a good signing. I think we have to be smart with the way we spend our money. If we're going to be bringing in older players, it would be silly to be spending money on them at all, really. I think maybe a couple of free signings, if like something like that pans out. I think we were linked with Boateng a while ago, or Bonucci, I think are both on frees. I could be wrong about Bonucci being on a free. Pjanic, who Barcelona were talking about sending out on a loan. So I think it's better to spend money on getting a quality center mid and then getting someone like Pjanic on a free or on a loan than to sign two kind of average mids. I think it's just better to invest properly and, really set up the foundations like you were saying. So Tomiyasu, I think, is a good example of that. I think he is a good player. Paratisi seems to really like him, so we plan at right back, and hopefully he pans out. But yeah, getting back to what we started this with, we just finished with Ben Davis, kind of roundabout talk on that one. But Joe Rodon now. 83% pass completion, 100% of his shots were on target, 5 interceptions, 17 clearances, and 2 key passes. And I thought he was quite exceptional at the Euros. I think his performance against, I'm totally blank. Denmark in the round of 16 wasn't fantastic. But in the group stage, I thought he was excellent. Against Italy, I thought he played well. Played very well against Turkey. And I wasn't able to watch his match against Switzerland, but I think that Rodon deserves to be starting next season. What's your thoughts on Rodon, Bodie? Bodie, you're muted.
My bad. Sorry, what were you saying there?
So just thoughts on Rodon next season. Do you think he should be starting?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He's a top centre back for his age at the end of the day, and if when he was given the opportunity, he performed. There's nothing much more I can say. He just needs to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Next, we have Musa Sissoko, who I think only had 2 substitute appearances, so don't expect too much from him, I guess. But he had 1 key pass and 79% pass completion. The only notable thing that I think about Sissoko's World Cup, or not World Cup, Euros, was he was subbed on against Switzerland when they were 3-2 up to solidify the game. And then a minute after he was subbed on, Switzerland scored. To be fair, later in that game, he did take on 2 defenders and then put a beautiful cross in for Kingsley Coman, who hit his shot against the crossbar. So I think that was what his 1 key pass was. But I think we should be moving Sissoko on this summer. I think his wages are way too high for his quality. He only has 1 year on his contract left. So
let him go.
There's anything we can do to get him out, even if it's for a reduced fee. I think 10 million, that'd be fantastic business. What are your general thoughts on Sissoko leaving this summer?
He has to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He has to. There's nothing against. I have nothing against him. He's just not good enough. Honestly, he has a nice work rate on him, but he's just, not only is he foreign, right? And like I said, we're looking for homegrown talent. I'd rather have playing Skip, because Skip would have a similar work rate to him, and he would have a better technical ability. Yeah, the Sissoko's down. When Sissoko was on form, the only difference was Sissoko had a little bit more technical ability, and that was how much better he became, combined with the work rate. And then when he's low on confidence, he just does not have that technical ability, and when he doesn't, he's just an average player. So it's
Hi guys.
Back then.
Hello, Charlie. Listeners, we have someone joining us a little late. Charlie from Tottenham Report. I agree with you. I think.
Can I just say, just to ask, so I don't repeat anything, or what are we currently?
We're talking about Sissoko at the moment.
But are we talking about all the international players?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. I think overall with Sissoko though, one of his biggest strengths in I think the 18-19 season, when he was really playing well for us, and even the 19-20 season to a certain extent, was his work rate. I think he just was constantly working and running and making himself available, and pushing on those drives to midfield was what he was so good at. And this season he's just kind of been walking around. I think there's the best example of that was in the Aston Villa game. He was going. I think it was they put a cross in. The cross went right by him, and I think it was McGinn who got the ball. He took a touch. Sissoko had to take 2 big steps forward and a sprint, and he would have gotten to the ball before McGinn could shoot it. But he just kind of jogged, and then Tanganga, who was behind Sissoko, ran past him to get the block in. So I think it's just, if he's not going to work for us, we need to move him out.
I remember that. We all got really annoyed with Sissoko when that happened.
Yeah. Moving on to Højbjerg. His Euro 2020 consisted of 14 chances created, 84% pass completion, 77% dribbles completed, 73% tackles succeeded, 7 interceptions, and tied second most assists at 3. So I think for me, Højbjerg proved this tournament that he's more than just a defensive midfielder. I think he showed that he can be kind of more box to box and create opportunities and be more of a threat going forward. But Bodie, Charlie, whoever wants to go first, what do you guys think of him?
It went from with Højbjerg, right? When we first signed him, he went from underrated to fairly rated, still maybe a little underrated. And then during the Euros, he has become criminally underrated. It's unbelievable. No one rates how good a player is just because they play for Tottenham, right? For Harry Kane, right? He's playing for England. People are sucking him off, right? But then as soon as he's in a Tottenham shirt, people just don't rate him anymore. And it's not. And I can guarantee you this right now. People are saying, when I saw some posts of people rating Kane for the top 5 in Ballon d'Or, I says, if he went to United, right, United City, because that's who the media supports, United City, the people involved in the media. If he went to Merseyside, right, or he went up to the northeast, I think that's why it's northeast of England, and he went to City and United, he would be top 3 Ballon d'Or at least, if not win.
Yeah,
because. It doesn't matter if he played for Tottenham. If he had that same season that he did for us, and it would be the same for City United. Not only would he won the Player of the Year,
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
He would also be. I reckon he'd be above Lewandowski in the Ballon d'Or. And that's not because he would deserve it, but that's because the media is biased against specific teams, and they would suck him off until he's dry.
Yeah, I think Sky Sports really showed like that media bias yesterday when they revealed their match ratings for the Euro 2020 final. They gave Kane a 5. A 5. He was probably or maybe saying he was their best player is a little overstating it, but he was definitely top 2 or 3. What did they give who?
What annoys me a lot of the people that I was watching the game with, like. One of them was an Arsenal fan, so yeah. But a lot of them were saying, "Oh, Kane's done nothing. Kane's done nothing." Do people not actually know anything about football? He literally created the first goal. He was literally the only one pulling the strings in midfield. He was literally dropping deep and getting the ball every time. And then in the second half, because I rate Gareth Southgate. Don't get me wrong, but we sat back in the second half, 11 men behind the ball. Kane is not Messi. He's not going to create his own chance by running through their whole defense, is he?
Yeah.
So, no one can blame him for not having any shots when he gets absolutely 0 service.
I just want to know, right? What rating did they give Sterling?
I'm looking. I'll tell you when I find it. But the only ratings I know is they gave Saka a 10 and Kane a 5.
Okay, that says it all, though. That says it all.
Wait, who came up with these ratings?
Sky Sports.
Man, the Arsenal bias.
It's almost condescending that they gave Saka a 10. It's so clear that the only reason they did that was because he missed his penalty.
No, but let me tell you, right? It's not even biased. Saka was the worst performing English player.
My God! Okay, please stop, stop.
I saw him do nothing.
Oh my God, mate.
Okay, so
calm down a bit. He was actually pretty good at when he came on. He almost created a big chance, but then Bonucci should have had a red or whatever. I mean, come on, mate. He really wasn't that bad.
So Sky Sports Premier League gave Kane a 7 and gave Sterling a 9. I think, okay, sorry, this is maybe controversial and a little off topic, but Sterling is such a poor player. Yes, he scored a few goals for England, but literally anyone else would have done that. I think Sancho, Grealish, Phil Foden, if they had played as many minutes of him, they would have scored those goals. The issue with Sterling, he just doesn't pass. He dribbles into defenders and then has no one to play it off to, and then he loses the ball.
That is exactly what we were talking about last night when we were watching the game. Like, Sterling is just not. I mean, he scored 3 goals, yes, but if Southgate was consistently telling the players to attack throughout the tournament and using the likes of Rashford, Sancho, Foden, all of them would have banged in goals. I mean, Sterling only scored because, I mean, he was in the right place in the right time. I mean, okay, credit to him. He really did help us in the tournament. But at the same time, I mean, I know this off topic about Sterling, but really, as you said, he thinks he can always do it by himself. He tries to run through. He's basically the English Lucas, except Lucas is actually better in front of goal, in my opinion. Basically, he runs past 5 players and then has absolutely nothing to do with the ball, and it just goes for a goal kick. That's basically all that Sterling does ever.
No, but to be fair, right, Sterling, I do think Sterling's got a better finish than Moura. I think Moura's better dribbling.
Actually,
I think Moura has slightly better passing, but when it comes to a clinical finish, I think Sterling I think he's definitely got a better finish than Moura. But I see what you're saying. I think he doesn't have the class. He's not a world class winger, but on form he definitely is. I mean, when he was doing the best he was when he was City versus Spurs, I thought, Jesus Christ, he could be challenging for that Ballon d'Or. He could get in top 10 or something with that one performance. But he just completely fell off later on, and that shows to me the only reason why he's not as good as he could be is because that Sterling, that performance against Tottenham, was his form and not his class.
Yeah, so some say form is temporary, class is permanent, but for him it's almost opposite. Class is temporary, form is actually no, that doesn't make much sense. But yeah,
Interesting though.
You know.
Real quick, I'm gonna interrupt you guys. I've been going through all the different Sky Sports accounts, which is just they have way too many. But Sky Sports Football, they gave Harry Kane a 5 and Sterling a 6.
All right, that's fair.
And they gave Rice and Calvin Phillips 6s as well. I thought both of them played really well.
What? Rice was absolutely phenomenal.
I think that's
actually
fair.
Who got a 4?
Mount.
Oh yeah, I mean he lost the ball a lot.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty bad.
No, but Rice was like the best player on the pitch for me. He was a better left winger than Sterling. Like he kept running through. He was absolutely immense yesterday. I don't know how he got 6. But Walker was class as well. Walker, what a player! You know, sometimes I just wish we had him. Like he'd be so solid for us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's get back to it. So that concludes our talking about Højbjerg. Moving on now to Kane. Kane in Euro 2020 had 5 key passes, 70% pass completion, 8 dribbles completed, 3 interceptions, and tied second most goals. He got 4.
You know what? This fully shows something, right? Earlier on in the tournament, people thought he wasn't as good as people thought, and Foden said for Sky Sports, he needs service. As soon as he gets service, he becomes second most tied goal scorer in the tournament. Like, people are taking the piss. They're having a laugh. Southgate's playing a defensive team, right, where there's everyone behind the ball at the start of the game except for Sterling, Kane, and whoever's on the right-hand side. Kane can't create. Yeah, well, Mount.
Always,
for the final, it was Mount.
Well, it can be Mount, Foden, mainly them two, but Osaka. But my point is, as soon as he got service, he scored because the way Southgate set up was not for him to be creating chances like he did with Tottenham. It was for him. It was for him to be awaiting the chances, and it was mad. He didn't get any service at all. Right, didn't score. As soon as Grealish was the creativity that gave the service. He scored. There's nothing.
You know, I was discussing this earlier, Southgate's tactics, and I can only give praise to Southgate. You know, he did something amazing, this Euros, and really got too much hate before, but I still stand by the fact that he should. I don't want him. No, I don't. I like the guy. I really do like the guy. But but if he stays for the next World Cup, we're just going to see the same thing all over again. He has the best attacking options and depth that any manager in the world could ask for, and he plays like 9 men behind the ball, counter-attacking football against Denmark and stuff like that. Like, it's just so stupid. Why would you want to play so defensive football? Like, in the press conference after the Italy game, he said, "Oh, we knew Italy would have more possession." Why do you need to know that? Why can't England play possession football?
Yeah.
My dad is really annoyed about this kind of stuff. He's been watching
Mm-hmm.
England play negative football for 60 years. We now have the best team we've ever had, and Liverpool play attacking possession football. City play attacking possession football. Chelsea and Man U play possession football. Why can't we play possession football? It literally doesn't play. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Easily, fragmentally.
Mm-hmm. I think we're starting to talk about England a bit more, but I think it's a pretty simple fix. Like, if you want to play with 4 defenders and 2 holding mids, you can stay with that all you want. Like, that doesn't really, you don't have to change that. But play Grealish either on the left or through the middle, and then
Joey, you're alive?
yeah, sorry, my internet crashed. Sorry, I'm back though. I think playing Grealish on the left, Kane through the middle, Mount in midfield, and then you have your pick of Sancho, Rashford on the right. I think, or even Foden maybe. Anyhow, that's enough of that. Moving on to our Copa America players. First up, we'll go with Davinson Sanchez. He had 8 interceptions, 8 clearances, 80% tackles succeeded, 86% pass completion rate, and Colombia and him secured 3rd place. I was going to say, do you want Davinson to leave or stay this summer?
I mean, I know you wanted to leave more than Dyer because Dyer's English and we can get more money for Sanchez. And I kind of stand by
Dyer,
that.
sorry, just really quick before you move on. He grew up in Portugal, so he doesn't count as a homegrown player. So
but still,
would be
we can get more money for Sanchez. So
yeah.
But I still stand by that. If it wasn't about money, I'd definitely keep Sanchez as a backup. I still think he's a decent backup. And I don't know, maybe I'm just, I've always defended him. I just still feel like somehow he could become decent in the future, or maybe good, but he's still young. But at the same time, he probably won't. So I think he should go. But that depends if we bring in any good centre backs this summer, which hopefully we are. I mean, there's been new rumours that Koundé, we might be offering for Koundé. I don't know where we're getting the money from, but we might actually be offering for him. But for what I saw from Sanchez, I didn't see much, but I saw a bit for Colombia. He was actually pretty good. And one thing I do know, though, is that he did miss a pen, but that doesn't really affect
he scored a
him
pen
in this defensive way.
Against Uruguay, and they had a penalty shootout in the quarterfinals, and then they had one in the semifinals, and he missed that one. So I think for me personally, I agree with you. If it wasn't about money, I'd keep him and sell Dyer and Alderweireld. However, it is about the money, so I would sell him.
Wait, so you're open to selling Alderweireld?
Yes. Well, if it wasn't about the money, but it is about the money, so we're going to sell Alderweireld. But Bodhi, what are your thoughts on the Colombian?
I didn't watch any of the
Well, just in general. Do you want to flip the sell?
I don't know. I really. Wait.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I think if anything, just the Copa America raised his price because he played pretty well during it. So yeah.
Oh, Sanchez, you're about?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'd get him gone.
All right. Next up, we have Giovanni Lo Celso.
I have a lot to say about this man. I am really excited to see him under Nuno.
Sorry, you want to say? Wait, hold on. He had 100% crossing accuracy, 80% tackle succeeded, 83% dribble success rate, 89% passing accuracy, and 1 trophy. So
Now, those
Charlie,
are
go ahead.
impressive stats
Mhm.
by any standards. And
Yeah.
I saw his pass was wait, was it in the was it in the semi-final that he
Yeah,
did
I think it
that
was in the
pass?
semifinal.
Yeah,
It went to Messi, and then Messi laid it off
really
to.
great pass, really great pass
Mhm.
that created their goal basically.
Mhm.
And he had some really nice, good moments, consistent, didn't really make any mistakes.
Mhm.
And I really hope that can make him into a really solid midfielder for us.
Mhm.
But I'm starting to think that he is an attacking minded midfielder, but I think
Mhm.
he could be more of a box to box midfielder because he does have that passion to fight for the ball, and he's
Mhm.
not bad at tackling. And
Yeah.
he's not a proper attacking like Cam, like Ericsson, is
Yeah.
he? He's not a playmaker. He can do that, but I think he's a pretty good, not box to box, more maybe like a Metella kind of thing. I
Mhm.
don't know, but just a
Yeah.
pure centre
I
mid,
think
in my opinion.
when Højbjerg, Domblé, and Lo Celso played together with us last season, Domblé played in like that deeper role with Lo Celso on top. And
Yeah, but
personally,
I think it should
I would
be
switch it.
the
I'd play Lo
opposite. Yeah.
Celso in a little deeper role and then Domblé on top.
Mm.
And I was able to watch a few of Argentina's games. They kept being like right at the time, like the one day I couldn't watch a game was when they'd be playing. But I did watch their quarterfinal. No, I think I watched their. I think I watched all the knockout games.
I only watched highlights because it was like at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, works out well for me. It was like 5 or 6 p.m. over here,
yeah.
so it was pretty perfect. But anyhow, I kept watching, and I was watching basically only for Lo Celso. And like I kept hoping that he would get like 100% passing accuracy in the games, and I think overall his average came out to 89%. But his teammates kind of screwed him over. Like his passing accuracy definitely could have been a lot higher, but like one
Yeah.
time he passed it out like wide to his I think it was like a fullback, and the fullback thought it took a deflection, and so he just let it go out, but then it was a throw for the other team. And then he played a few through balls that the players just gave up on. Like if they had like just followed through with their run, they would have gotten there for sure. So I think he was really good. I was really hoping that he would get a goal or an assist, but alas, he did not. But I still think that I think there's still more to come from him at Spurs. I think next season, playing him and Højbjerg as like the two, like further back, and then Domblé on top of that, I think that would be really good. And then that offers us the option to go with a flat 3 in the middle because Domblé and Lo Celso can play like that defensive role. Domblé proved it last season. Lo Celso proved it the season before. Or if we're really chasing the game, it gives us the option to play Højbjerg alone in the back and then Lo Celso and Domblé. Both going
But
forward.
basically, what you're saying is it's very interesting because I agree with you there. I've always rated Lo Celso. After his first season at the club, obviously it was a horrendous season. Coach got sacked and everything. But he was by far our best player that season. He didn't have many goal contributions, but he did everything for us basically that season.
I think he finished second in like the player of the season vote for Spurs.
Yeah, and no one really, he didn't really get any credit for it that he deserved. Like no one talked about him after that season, but that was just because of the stats, because he didn't have like 15 goals. Because you need to score goals to get noticed, I guess. But at the same time, last season, injuries, disappointing. We expected him to really step up, but at the same time, I think people are a bit harsh on him. Like a lot of Spurs fans saying, "Oh, he was a waste of a buy." He's awful. He's this and that. But really, if you actually watch him, one thing that is annoying about it, though, is if you notice the way he carries the ball, he's very left-footed. Like the way he runs with the ball, I don't know if anyone's noticed. It's a bit weird when he's carrying the ball with his left foot. It's kind of he's a bit like Lamella in that sense. He's very left-footed, but yeah, he's definitely got quality, and he could be very solid. But as you said, like him and Højbjerg is a double pivot, and then Ndombele is a more attacking player. I think that I don't think I'd play that in a 4-2-3-1. I think this could actually work as a 4-3-3. Ndombele would be the more attacking player, but 4-3-3, a bit like Liverpool's or Real Madrid's a few years ago. I think that could really work. It would be really solid in the middle. And as you saw last season, when we played the three of them, which was very rare, but when we did under Jose, you could see that their link-up play was pretty impressive. They were doing all these little passes between each other.
Yeah.
And I think it could really work on its
Mhm.
day. So, yeah, also, I really don't think, like we were discussing before about Sabitzer, I really don't think we need him. I think we should really prioritise defence and the backup tackle, or,
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think it was against Southampton that Los Oso and Dombele were on the field together, I think for like 10 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just,
That was phenomenal.
it was
yeah.
so
It was
pleasing
beautiful.
because like the two of them were playing together so well. Earlier in the season, I know it didn't work, but I think if we give it another shot, it
It
will.
was actually, I just realised, like, I was talking about with you how it would be great that, Elwar and Ndombele got back together. But, Lo
Mhm.
Celso is kind of similar player
Yeah.
to Elwar. So that's kind of Ndombele works well with those kind of mids. So maybe
Mhm.
we could see that next season. Nuno likes working with midfielders, and usually he improves them with,
Mhm.
Dendoncker,
Yeah.
Matinho, Neves. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see what he'll do with midfield next season.
Mhm. All right. Well, that was all of the players that were in the Euros. So we're gonna go through some transfer rumors now. Um, we've already talked quite a bit about Tomiyasu in the past, so I'm just gonna skip over that one. Mikel Damsgaard. Apparently, Sampdoria have quoted his price at being 34 million pounds. What would your thoughts be on Damsgaard? Bodie, do you want to talk about it first?
Bodie, a big fan of him.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if he is someone I would personally go for. Um,
Mhm.
at first I didn't really like the idea of signing him, but as I looked into some of his stats at
Mhm.
Sampdoria, it was very underwhelming. Uh,
Yeah.
no doubt he's definitely a really good youngster, but I mean he started like nearly 30 games and only got 2 goals and 4 assists. But something I did notice he is
Well,
a very he does
he's a what?
play. Huh?
We can't.
Wh-
We didn't hear you.
Yeah. What do you say he is?
I'm saying he has 2 goals and he got 2 goals and 4 assists in
Mhm.
like over 30 games. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that he doesn't seem like a player that is very attacking influence. He's more
Mhm.
someone that he's more of a deep. He plays a lot more deep on the left hand side, cuts in and creates stuff from cutting in from the center of the park. He's kind of all over the place.
Mhm.
Like like I said, it's the same with every player. It depends how Nuno wants to set up with the side.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
in a team where you see Damsgaard play, it'd probably be involved in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. Um,
Mhm.
I couldn't see him replacing Son in a 4-3-3 or I couldn't
No.
see him replacing Son at all, and I couldn't see Son playing right wing. So it's
Mhm.
oh, sorry. So it's either
Um,
Son and Kane play forward and he plays a left mid 4-4-2, or he plays as a cam
Mhm.
and Son on the left and Kane up top.
to
Yeah.
be honest, the way I see him is, I think he's basically Lamella 2.0 in that sense. He doesn't get many goals or assists, but he does have quality one-on-one. He's a great dribbler, a bit like Lamella. He's not the quickest, but he is good with his feet and can create good situations. But I just don't think 35 million
Yeah.
for a player very similar to Lamella, who wouldn't be a starter, who could
Mhm.
create. Don't get me wrong. If we signed him, I'm sure he'd have some magic moments, moments of
Mhm.
brilliance. But he would never get to, a really good point. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe he'll become amazing next season. But that is just
Yeah.
way too much money, if you ask me. We
Yeah.
need to prioritize other positions as well.
I think I agree with you, but I want to clear some stuff up. Yes, he played 35 games last season in Serie A, but he only started 18 of those. So I think
Good
the
point.
no, it's not a stat. It's Page House, but he had he played 1,769 minutes, and he had 25 key passes and 29 chances created. And so compare that to our most creative player, probably Harry Kane, played 3,082 minutes, and had 49 key passes and 63 chances created. So I think there's a lot of promise there. Whether or not he's worth 35 million, I think that would be a little too much. Especially when I think we should be focusing on getting defenders
to be honest, I wouldn't go over 25 million for him, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. We were linked with Renato Sanchez recently. Hot take from me. I don't think we should really push for this one. And I'll tell you why. So 2016 Euro, Renato Sanchez was like amazing. Everyone was talking about what a great player he was, how like amazing he was going to be for Bayern Munich. And then Bayern Munich loaned him out to Swansea. Everyone was talking about like, oh, what great business that was from Swansea. And then he totally flopped. He only played 15 games, didn't score a single goal. And he got dropped from the starting 11 at Swansea.
Wait, who are you talking about? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Oh, Renato Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
And then goes back to Bayern. He plays all right, I guess. Then goes to Lille. And so, yes, he was part of Lille's team this season. And I put a hot take on my Instagram page that like after his Euros in 2016, he was great. During the Euros in 2016, he was great. And then after that, he wasn't so good. And so I'm just fearful of that happening again. And people are like, oh, well, he played really great for Lille last season. He was like a key part of their team. He started less than half of Lille's games last season. He only started 14, played in 23. So he got subbed on 9 times. So he was really just a rotation player for them. I mean, Los also started less games than him, or sorry, that's not really the right way to use that. But I think like Lucas Moura, he played more games for us this season than Renato Sanchez did for Lille last season. So I don't think he's someone we should really be looking at. But
yeah,
what do you guys think?
Well, I totally agree. When I saw the rumors about it, the first thing I can see is just another Ndombele, but even worse than Ndombele. I think Ndombele is great, but in the way his first season would be exactly like Ndombele's first season. I feel like he'd flop, he'd struggle. Maybe he'd have a good season next season, but he's very similar to Ndombele as well. He's more defensive, but I'm not sure. He's the kind of player that could definitely flop. I think he'd either flop or become team of the season that year. I don't know.
Yeah. Bodhi, what do you think?
He's definitely a very he's a big gamble. I personally I wouldn't go for him myself, but yeah, I mean he could come good. I mean when you talk about how good he was beforehand, it's like a same story with Dele Alli. It's like it doesn't matter how bad they are now, you can't forget how good they once were. And I've said this with Dele Alli, he will never be who he was at Tottenham. If he moved to PSG, I reckon he would end up becoming just as good as he once was. And maybe Renato would need a fresh start, and maybe he could play as good as what he did beforehand if he joined Tottenham. I don't know. He's a big gamble. Personally, I wouldn't take it, but
yeah,
you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I think we haven't really been linked with a lot of players consistently over the past week, but we talked a little bit about him earlier. Houssem Aouar. What are your guys' thoughts on?
I think, as I've already discussed him in this.
Get him in.
You go.
Get him in. He is an absolute baller. The talk, right? When I'm seeing these posts, it's like when I'm seeing these Arsenal posts, because he's mainly linked with Arsenal. What I'm saying is 25 million euros.
Yeah.
Are you mad? That is crazy. I'd take that in a heartbeat. He is a world beater. Not world class, because world class is the definition of like top 5, like the top 5 in his position. He's not world class, but he is a world beater. He could walk into pretty much any team with his quality.
Yeah.
I would want if I was able to play a 4-2-3-1 with Ndombele Can the
Mhm.
one player I'd want next to Højbjerg, other than Skip, would be Aouar. Because not
Mhm.
only has Aouar previously played with Ndombele, they've had a great link up. They know each other already, which would also
Mhm.
help Aouar settle in better.
Yeah.
But Aouar, he's quality. He's so good.
Mhm.
Ndombele played more as a final third playmaker, and Aouar was so good at taking the ball from his own half and taking it to the halfway line and then laying it off to
Mhm.
Ndombele to let him do his own thing.
Mhm.
When Leon had Ndombele right with Aouar, they just played a system that just worked so well, and Aouar was so key in that. And if Tottenham could
Mhm.
replicate the same thing and somehow broaden Aouar, I think that'd be one of the signings of the summer for Tottenham,
Yeah.
for even in general. He's a world beater. I'd love to have him I
Mhm.
would probably take him. I would sell the Celso, Wings, Sissoko. Or I'd just sell the lot, and I'd bring in
Mhm.
Aouar.
Mhm. I think another thing too is I think he would help Dombele because Dombele there was a lot of talk about like how Sissoko and Aurier kind of helped Dombele settle in and with language barrier and that type of thing, and it's looking like both of them are going to leave this summer. So bringing in someone who Dombele is already comfortable with and like he spent quite a while with at Lyon and speak the same language, I think that would help rebuild La Mafia. Um, but yeah, I think overall he'd be a good signing. I think we could even see Dombele playing next to Højbjerg and then Awar up front. But we'll see how that goes. So
Yeah,
Charlie, already talked on
well,
him.
yeah, I've already mentioned he's very similar to Lo Celso, but he is an upgrade on Lo Celso at the end of the day. And Lo Celso is a good rotational player, so yeah, I definitely take Aouar into my team. But as usual, I'm going to say that first we get centre backs. Then, if we have enough money, fine.
No,
Mhm.
when it's a play like Aouar, I don't care about the centre backs first. If he's
No,
going
but
for
I do though. I do though
no, but if
because
he's
Yeah.
no, but you can't. No, but here's the thing, right? Would you rather? Okay, let's say Lionel Messi's on the market. This is hypothetically, right? Completely hypothetical. But if
I mean
Lionel
technically
Messi,
he is a free agent.
no, I know. But I'm saying no. I'm saying realistically here, if Tottenham could sign him, right? He won the Ballon d'Or. If Tottenham could sign him, would you sign him straight away as soon as he's available, or would you sign him, or would you rather sign other important positions first and then sign him? Any team would sign
The
Messi.
difference the
No,
difference
no,
is Awar
no,
The
but
isn't
difference is
Messi.
Aouar isn't Messi, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is a player of his quality, as soon as he goes up the market, teams will be wanting him instantly. So
We
it doesn't.
know, but
I think
But we'll be passing up on such a good player. You just when a player of his quality is going up for that cheap of a price, it
to
doesn't
be
matter.
fair, he didn't have the best season last season. No, I rate him. I really do. I always have.
It
But
doesn't
he's not breathtakingly good, mate. I mean,
make look.
he's
No, I know this, but I wouldn't wait to sign Tommy Yasu before I'd go in for Hour. I'd be going
I'm
in for
not Tommy
Hour
Asu, I'm
straight away.
talking Kone or something.
Yeah, but
yeah,
Kunde's unrealistic at this
I
point.
think the difference is though, or like not the difference, but like last summer, we signed Højbjerg, Joe Hart, Vinicius Bale, Reguilon,
And then we
and I
signed
wrote on,
Roden.
yeah.
Was just
And I think if we had prioritized the signing of Skriniar at the beginning of the window, we wouldn't have
we
had a
would have
problem
signed.
getting to that 45 million. So if we keep pushing back the signing of center backs, we're not going to have the funds to sign the ones we want, and we're going to end up with another championship player. And Rodon panned out pretty well. That worked out well for us. But it's not going to happen again. So we need to sign a quality center back, or at least someone that Fabio Partisi is familiar with and wants into the club. Otherwise, we're gonna wait and go on and on to the window, and we're not going to sign a center back until deadline day. And by that point, we'll probably still have Dyer and Sanchez and all the people at
Yeah,
the club.
well, to be honest, I can't tell. Sorry, Bodie. I can't tell if I like the Paratici transfer.
Well, it's hard to judge because nothing's happened yet. So I think we have to wait
No,
until we can
yeah, I
really
know, but
judge.
what I'm saying is I'm not sure if I like Paratici's transfer strategy where he basically goes in for 10 players in the same position and then later decides who he's actually going to get, because that is so time consuming, and as it is we take so much time to sign a
Well,
player.
it's not necessarily time consuming. I mean, it takes a lot of
it's
his
not just
time,
that, but
I think
also it's
deals
just
go the same
nerve-wracking
pace.
if they make the wrong decision as well. I'd rather just go in for one player and just get it done. You know what I mean?
And then the deal falls apart, and then we have to start all over.
Yeah,
but
it's
This is
less of a
Tottenham Hotspur
normal
Football
teams
Club. We
that
never
doesn't
get our first
happen. It
target.
only happens to us.
Charles, listen, Paratici, right? His style, I think his style's fantastic because
Yeah.
not only does it give us an opportunity to get the best
No,
option,
actually,
we're
yeah.
able to fall back on someone. If you prioritize one specific person, like said before, if that falls through, it was like Paulo Dybala, right? We were so close to Dybala, then it fell through, and then who did we have after that?
Yeah, I no, don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying. But when I'm saying, just prioritize one player, I'm not talking about prioritize one player that whole window and then wait the whole window to get it. We're talking about prioritizing in a way that we get the deal done in like 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? I wasn't talking like.
But like
that,
that's not
that's
the.
unrealistic.
This has to work with the Daniel Levy style as well.
Yeah.
Because if we're getting a deal done in 2 to 3 days, that means we're going to be paying whatever the club's asking price is. And that's just not the way Daniel Levy operates. So the reason that I'm so that I like the way Partisi negotiates is if you have 10 players lined up and you're negotiating with all the clubs, and one club says, like as a transfer tactic, they set the asking price really high, Partisi can just say, okay, whatever, and leave them. And then, and we focus on the 9 other transfer targets. And then, that club goes back like, wait, we'll drop the price since you're just going to drop us. Because there's no reason that we would have to focus on that one player if we have 9 other players that we think could fit. This, I think 10 is like, it was like at most he's negotiating with 10. So I think in a lot of situations, it's probably like 4 or 5. But if we have like that many players lined up, then we're not, scrambling at the end of the window to start something all over again. And I totally get what you're saying, Charlie, about like just prioritizing one player. And I think in an ideal world, that's how it would work. Yeah. But
it's just
we support Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and it's never ideal. So, Buddy, what were you going to say?
I'd like to just give Charles an example to back up what we're saying here. Like, right, you play FIFA, right, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's essentially like, let's say you drop a short list of a lot of different players in this one specific position, and you negotiate for a few of them. And then once you've negotiated for all of them and you're ready to accept the deal, you narrow it down to your favorite option, and then you sign him. That's literally what Paratici does. It's like playing FIFA the way he does it. It's mental, but it's the most well-functioning system to sign the best players when you don't have much time, because it doesn't matter. Okay, you can negotiate for tons of players at once, and you can narrow it down based on price and quality to find the best option. It's Paratisi's got such a good strategy with it, and whether you agree with it or not, it works, and it's worked before.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. Also, one thing about Paratici, we discussed this before, but after Chiesa's absolutely breathtaking performance yesterday, I mean, as we said, Paratici did leave that piece of paper in that restaurant with Chiesa's name on it 3 years ago because he's a genius and he's going to create and he's going to bring us amazing young talents to the club, because I'm optimistic and I think Paratici is an absolute god. And I know it's really unrealistic to get Chiesa, but I mean, just imagine he'd be. I mean, I know we have Bergwijn, but man, Chiesa,
different class.
He's a Kane-Son attack. That is the best attack in the world, and I'm not like no chance for anything else. Like that is the best attack in the world.
Anything else you guys want to? Any other players you guys want to talk about, or anyone else before we wrap it up?
Oh, I wanted to mention something. I mean, this isn't totally transfer. I mean, it is actually. I don't know how accurate this is. Sam posted it, and a few other people posted it. Just a second. I'm gonna read it.
Do you remember which player it was?
No. It's I mean, it's about the naming rights of the stadium.
Oh yeah, that it's getting close.
If you've seen that,
it was the Daily Mail.
That's very interesting. And please make it be Amazon or Nike or something. I don't, please. I don't care about the name of the stadium. It'll always be White Hart Lane in our eyes, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just want that money, man.
Yeah.
And also, one part of Sam's post as well was this from the Daily Mail. All of it is.
Mhm.
Let me read it out. However, they are bracing themselves for a big name departure. Staff were made aware of the departure via email with the reaction described as one of shock. Now, I'd say, oh, it's the Daily Mail. You know, I mean, this could be very false, and it sounds a bit, but at the same time, I mean, it's you got to have some weird minds to come up with a story like that. You know what I mean? I feel like someone from the club has told them this, and I feel like this could be true. And I don't know who it is because it says shock. I don't think Kane leaving is a huge shock because
Mm-mm.
we've seen it coming. So
Yeah.
if this is
I
someone
think it
that's
could
not
also
Kane, that
be
could be really worrying.
not like a player, but like a member of maybe the board or someone within the club.
I
I'm
guess
thinking
so.
Steve Hitchen maybe could be who they're talking about, or one of like our more higher up directors. So I don't think it doesn't have to necessarily be a player, but and like you said, it is the Daily Mail, so who knows if any of that's actually true.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other topics you guys want to cover?
I think we've covered most of it, unless Bodie has something to add.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. We appreciate every single one of you. If you're listening to this via Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate it if you left a review for us. It helps us get the pod out and reach more people. And if you're listening to this via YouTube, or even if you're not listening to this via YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube. We just hit 90 a little earlier today, and we're really trying to push and get to 100. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when we post, and we'll catch you in the next one. Come on, you Spurs.